The guests were seated. The violin music played soft in the background.
Sir, please calm
Expensive flowers decorated the giant hall. The wedding of billionaire businessman Arav Malhotra and social media influencer Kiera Sehgal was the biggest event of the year. Media cameras waited outside. Inside, the elite of society whispered in excitement. But in one dark corner, a girl in plain clothes stood silently. She looked out of place. Her dress was simple. Her shoes were old. Her hands shook, but her eyes were fixed on the stage. Her name was Maya, the cleaner's daughter. No one noticed her yet. The groom, Arav, stood tall in a designer suit. He looked happy, but only on the outside. His eyes kept scanning the crowd. He was looking for someone. His best friend whispered in his ear, "Still thinking about her?" Arav didn't reply. He looked away. The bride, Kiera, entered with style. Cameras flashed. Everyone clapped. She smiled, but behind the smile was a sharp plan. She didn't love Arav. She loved the money. And today, she was marrying the richest man in the city. As the priest started the wedding rituals, tension grew. Maya took one step forward, then another. Her hands were cold, her voice trapped in fear. But she had come too far to stay silent now. The priest asked, "Does anyone have a reason why these two should not be married?" Silence. Then, "Yes, Ido." The voice was soft, but clear. All heads turned. Whispers started. The camera stopped. Arav froze. His heart skipped a beat. There, standing at the front now, was Maya, the cleaner's daughter. Kiera's face turned pale. The priest looked confused. Arav stared, his eyes wide. "Maya," he whispered. Everyone waited. She took a deep breath. Her voice was steady now. "This wedding should not happen, because the groom deserves to know the truth." Gasps filled the room. Phones started recording. The billionaire's wedding had just taken a dark turn. What truth? Who was Maya to Arav? And why did she speak now? And most importantly, would the wedding continue? Arav stepped back. His world was shaking. And in that moment, he made a decision that changed everything. Arav's heart pounded. His breath grew heavy as he stared at Maya. She stood alone in front of hundreds of powerful guests, but she didn't flinch. Her eyes met his, and that look said everything. Something had been hidden, and it was about to explode. The silence in the hall turned sharp. Kiera's fake smile cracked. She stepped forward angrily, her voice tight. "Who do you think you are?" Kiera snapped. "Security, remove her." But Arav raised his hand. "No, let her speak." Everyone froze. The billionaire had just paused his own wedding. Maya looked at him, her voice soft but full of weight. "I didn't come to ruin anything. But I couldn't watch you walk into a lie, Arav. You trusted the wrong person." The guests whispered louder now. Reporters outside pushed to enter. Something massive was happening. Kiera laughed bitterly. "This is a poor girl's trick. She's jealous. She just wants attention." But Arav shook his head. "Maya was never like that," he said. The hall went quiet again. Maya took a folded paper from her small purse. "Your mother trusted me," she said, holding up the letter. "Before she died, she gave me this." Arav's eyes widened. "My mother—" "Yes," Maya said, her voice trembling. She knew something was wrong with this wedding. She saw how Kiera treated your staff, how she treated you when no one was watching. Your mother wanted you to find love, not a partner who saw you as a wallet. Kiera's face turned red. "Lies." That woman was old and senile. "Enough." Arav's voice cut through the room like a knife. "Don't you dare speak about my mother that way." He walked down from the altar and stood in front of Maya. "Why didn't you tell me before?" he asked quietly. Tears gathered in Maya's eyes. "Because I'm just a cleaner's daughter. I didn't think you'd listen. But now, I couldn't stay silent." Arav took the letter and opened it slowly. His hand shook. His eyes scanned the words. His late mother's handwriting was clear, and every sentence confirmed Maya's warning. Betrayal. Greed. A trap. The letter ended with, "Arav, if you ever find this, trust your heart. And trust Maya. She sees the world not with money, but with truth." For a long moment, no one moved. Then Arav looked up at Kiera. "I made a mistake." His voice was calm but cold. "This wedding is over." A wave of gasps, phones clicking, screams, and chaos erupted. "You're canceling the wedding?" For a cleaner's daughter, Kiera shouted. No, Arif said. I'm canceling it because I finally opened my eyes. He turned to Maya, who looked shocked, scared, and unsure. You were always honest with me, even when we were kids. I remember you. Maya's eyes widened. You do? He smiled faintly. Of course. You're the girl who gave me her lunch when I was crying behind the garden wall. I never forgot you. Maya was speechless. Arif faced the guests, the cameras, and the world watching. Let this be a message. Truth matters more than wealth. And love cannot be bought. The billionaire walked away from the altar, not with the bride, but with the girl no one expected. Maya. But this was just the beginning. Outside the venue, paparazzi swarmed. Social media exploded. Headlines read, Billionaire boss walks out of wedding, thanks to cleaner's daughter, the girl who spoke truth at the altar. But behind all the noise, deeper secrets were waiting. Secrets about Kiera. Secrets about R's company. Secrets that could destroy more than just a wedding. The news spread like wildfire. By the time Arif and Maya stepped out of the Grand Hotel, 100 microphones pointed toward them. Reporters shouted questions. Flashlights blinded their eyes. People screamed Kiera's name, asking where she had gone. But she had vanished. Arif kept Maya close, shielding her from the crowd. Her heart was racing. Just hours ago, she was invisible. Now, the world was staring at her like she was someone important. But she didn't feel important. She was still the same girl, the daughter of a cleaner, a girl with cracked heels and secondhand clothes. But the man beside her, Arif Malhotra, was the country's youngest billionaire, and he had chosen to walk away from a glamorous bride to stand beside her. Why? That question burned through every mind watching. Back inside his black car, the doors shut. Silence returned. But not for long. You didn't have to do this, Maya whispered. Now everyone will hate me. Arif smiled faintly. Let them. I only care about truth now. And you brought it when no one else dared. He looked at her again, like really looked at her. But something still feels off, he continued. How did my mother know Kiera was lying? And why was she afraid enough to write that letter? Maya hesitated. There's something I didn't say at the altar. Arif turned serious. Go on. Your mother. She wasn't sick when she wrote that letter. She was strong. Smart. But 3 days later, she suddenly fell down the stairs. Everyone said it was an accident. But I don't believe that anymore. Arif froze. His hands gripped the seat. Are you saying she was pushed? Maya nodded slowly. I think she knew too much. She wanted to remove Kiera from her life. And someone didn't like that. Arif leaned back, his face pale. The puzzle pieces had started to fall into place, but the picture they formed was darker than anyone expected. Meanwhile, at a secret villa far from the media chaos, Kiera was not crying. She was not broken. She was furious. Her phone buzzed. A voice on the other end spoke in code. Plan failed. The boy is out. Kiera slammed the phone on the table. Her perfect wedding was ruined. But she wasn't done yet. If Arif thinks he can walk away with that girl, she muttered, he has no idea who he's dealing with. Kiera walked to a safe hidden behind a painting and pulled out a file. Inside were photos, documents, and one forged signature, Arif's. Back in the city, Maya was taken to Arif's home. Not the mansion. He hated that place now. But to his quiet farmhouse on the edge of the city. Birds chirped. Trees danced. The wind was clean. Stay here for now, Arif said gently. You're not safe out there, and we still need answers. Maya felt strange. She had never slept on a bed that didn't squeak or leak. But she nodded. Thank you. That night, as Arif stared at his mother's photo, he whispered, I will find out the truth. I promise. At the same time, Maya checked her old phone. One new message. From an unknown number. You think you won? You just made the first move. Now it's my turn. Maya's face went cold. She showed Arif the message. He looked at it for a moment, then picked up his phone. I'm calling my security team. And my lawyer. We're going to expose everything. But even Arif didn't know Kiera's next move would hit deeper than anyone expected. Because the wedding was only the beginning. Now came the war. The morning sun rose quietly over the farmhouse, but inside, storms were brewing. Arif hadn't slept all night. He sat in his study with his laptop, digging into old files, emails, CCTV records. anything that could explain what really happened to his mother. Maya brought him tea, but he barely noticed. She watched him with worry. This man, once calm and confident, now looked tired and hunted. And yet, he didn't stop. "There's something here," he mumbled. "My mom sent a mail to the board the day before her death. But it's missing now. It was deleted from every system." Maya frowned. "Can it be recovered?" Arav looked up. "Only by one person. My company's IT head, Pratik. But he resigned right after my mother died. Disappeared, actually." He stood up suddenly. "I think it's time we find him." But before they could leave, a knock came at the door. "Sir, this just arrived for you," said one of Arav's guards, holding a sealed white envelope. No name, no address, just his name written in block letters. Arav opened it slowly. Inside was a single photograph. It showed Maya, asleep in one of the farmhouse rooms. The photo had been taken just last night. His face darkened. Someone was here. Maya's eyes widened. "They're watching us?" Then, beneath the photo, were 4 typed words. "Stay silent, or she disappears." Arav crushed the paper in his fist. "They want to scare me. But they made a mistake. Now it's personal." Meanwhile, at a luxurious hotel suite across the city, Kiera smiled while sipping wine. "Phase 2 begins," she whispered. Beside her sat Rishi, Arav's former business partner. Quiet, clever, and dangerous. "Did you deliver the photo?" he asked. "Of course," Kiera replied. "Let them sweat, while we break everything he built." She opened her laptop, revealing confidential documents. Company shares, digital signatures, and files showing Arav had transferred a large part of his company to her name, without knowing. "The signature was faked well," Rishi said. "But if he finds Pratik, it's all over." Kiera's eyes glowed with poison. "Then we make sure he doesn't." Back at the farmhouse, Arav packed his car. "We're leaving," he told Maya. "We're going to find Pratik. I tracked a login from a cyber cafe near Himachal Hills last week. It could be him." Maya hesitated. "What if it's a trap?" Arav smiled weakly. "Then let them trap me. But I won't stop till I uncover the truth." They drove for hours, through winding roads and misty forests. With every mile, Maya's heart beat faster. Not from fear, but something else. Something new. This was no longer just about truth. She was falling for him. And Arav, he didn't say it aloud, but every glance at her told the same story. He had found someone real in a world full of lies. By evening, they reached the cafe. It was old, dusty, and half-closed. But inside, behind a computer, sat a thin man with a hood. Arav stepped closer. "Pratik." The man looked up. His eyes widened. "You found me. I need answers," Arav said. Pratik nodded slowly. "Then you should sit down, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything." But as he spoke outside the cafe, a black SUV parked quietly. 2 men stepped out, guns tucked under jackets. And back in the city, Kiera received a message on her phone. "Target found. Orders." She typed 1 word. "Finish it." Inside the quiet cafe, time slowed. Pratik leaned forward, pale and sweating. "Arav, your mother didn't fall down the stairs. She was pushed. And not just by fate, by someone inside your company." Arav's fist tightened. "Who?" Pratik looked toward the window nervously. "I'm not sure, but she found a fake account draining money from your charitable trust. She was ready to expose it. The day she died, she told me to back up the files and disappear. I did, but I think they've been tracking me ever since." Maya, seated quietly beside them, whispered, "And Kiera?" Pratik nodded. "She's not working alone. There's a whole plan to take over your company, and they're close to pulling it off." Before Arav could reply, a crash shattered the window. A masked man dove through the glass, pointing a gun. "Get down!" A second man entered through the back. Chaos exploded. Arav threw himself over Maya, protecting her as bullets struck the walls. Pratik ducked behind the counter, screaming. One attacker grabbed Pratik by the collar. "You talk, you die." But Arav wasn't just a billionaire. He had trained in self-defense years ago. He slammed a chair into the man's back, sending him crashing into the counter. The second attacker aimed at Maya, but she threw a boiling cup of tea into his eyes. "Oh!" The attacker screamed, stumbling backward. Arav tackled him to the floor, pinning his arm until the gun dropped. Police sirens wailed outside. Locals had called for help. Both attackers ran, but Arif caught a glimpse of a symbol on one's neck, a black cobra tattoo. He froze. Rishi. Maya looked at him. You know that tattoo? Arif nodded slowly. It's a mark from a gang Rishi was involved with in college, but he told me he left all that behind. The police entered, but the attackers had escaped. They secured the area, and Arif helped Maya to her feet. She was trembling. Are you okay? He asked, holding her gently. She nodded. I'm Fine. I was just scared I'd lose you. Arif looked into her eyes. The noise faded. The world paused. For a second, he forgot about companies, weddings, betrayal, everything. But Pratik interrupted. You need this, he said, handing Arif a USB drive. It has everything. Proof of fake documents, transfer of shares, even recordings of Kiera's secret meetings with Rishi. Arif stared at it. This could save everything. Back in the city, Kiera watched the failed attack on a CCTV feed inside her secret hideout. She smashed the screen. They survived. Again, Rishi paced the room. He'll use the files now. We have to move faster. Kiera's voice turned cold. Then it's time we attack not with guns, but through his empire. That night, Arif called an emergency board meeting. His top executives sat in a circle as he played the audio recordings from the USB. Kiera's voice echoed through the room. We'll get rid of the old woman. Then shift the shares. He won't know. Arif is blinded by my beauty. Let him marry me. He's just a stepping stone. Shock rippled across the room. Faces turned pale. One executive spoke. Sir, we're with you. We'll back your move to remove both Kiera and Rishi from the company. But Arif wasn't done yet. He stood tall, his voice strong. This isn't just about me. It's about every worker in this company. Every honest person who trusted us. We rebuild from this. We protect our people. Maya watched from the doorway. She smiled softly. The boy she once knew was now a man the world would remember. But the war wasn't over. The final move was coming. And the past still held one last painful secret. One that could break even the strongest love. Maya stood quietly by the garden, the same one where she once gave Arif her lunch when they were children. Now she watched him from a distance, strong, determined, a man reshaping his legacy. But something heavy still sat in her heart, because she hadn't told him the whole truth yet. Back inside, Arif spoke with his legal team. The board had voted. Kiera and Rishi were officially removed. A case had been filed. The media had begun calling it the fall of the golden couple. Public support flooded in for Arif. But power wasn't his goal. Justice was. And one question remained. Who signed the forged documents using his name? Maya entered the room quietly. Arif turned and smiled. But her expression was serious. Arif, there's something you need to know about your mother. He paused. What is it? Maya looked down. 10 years ago, she paid for my education. Secretly. Arif blinked. What? She saw my test scores. She met me one evening when I was cleaning the garden. I told her I wanted to study but couldn't afford school. The next week, my name appeared in a private school's list with full scholarship. I never knew who did it until she died. That's when I got a letter in the mail. She handed it to him. Arif read the soft handwriting. It was his mother's. Dear Maya, I've seen you grow up with courage, despite the world ignoring you. You remind me of myself. Arif is surrounded by people who smile with masks. But you are truth. If I don't survive long enough to protect him, promise me, you will. Tears burned his eyes. His mother had trusted Maya more than anyone. You never told me this? He whispered. I didn't want to sound like I was using you, Maya replied softly. You were already carrying so much. Arif stepped closer. You've never used me. You saved me, Maya. They stood there, closer than ever before, but their moment was broken by a call. His assistant burst in. Sir, you need to see this right now. He switched on the TV. A breaking news headline read, Billionaire's mothers will leaked. Maya named secret heir? Maya's face flashed on the screen. Reporters shouted outside the gates. Arif's jaw clenched. How did this get out? A second message appeared on his phone. It was from an anonymous number. You think you're winning? She played you too. The cleaner's daughter was promised everything. The will proves it. Ask her why she never mentioned that. Arif looked at Maya. Her eyes widened in fear. Arif, I didn't know. But his face was unreadable now. Why is your name in my mother's will? He asked, slower this time. Maya stepped back, hurt flashing in her eyes. I swear I never saw that will. I only got the letter. But Arif's mind raced. Doubts crept in. Was everything another trap? Maya's voice cracked. You think I lied to you? He didn't answer. Silence stretched between them like a blade. After everything I did, after risking my life, after standing at your altar, you think I planned this? He stayed quiet. Maya's eyes filled. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe people like me are always doubted in places like this. She turned and walked away, tears falling fast. Arif stood frozen. The girl who saved his life now walked out of it. Again. But behind it all, hidden in a penthouse office, Kiera watched the news and smiled. Divide and destroy, she whispered. Let love destroy itself. Because the war wasn't over. There was still one piece left to play. And that final move would either make Maya and Arif unbreakable, or tear them apart forever. Rain poured over the city like a curtain, washing away dust, secrets, and lies. Maya sat on the steps of an old orphanage, the same one where her mother used to work. Her face was wet, not just from rain, but tears. Her heart ached, not because Arif doubted her, but because deep down, she had started to believe they were meant for each other. Now it felt like a dream breaking apart. Inside the orphanage, children played with no idea that the woman who sat outside was fighting the weight of betrayal, media pressure, and heartbreak, all at once. Back at Arif's office, things weren't quiet either. He stared at the leaked will in front of him. His mother had written it 2 years ago. Maya was named not just as a scholarship student, but also as a trusted witness to the corruption she suspected in her company. Maya wasn't just a cleaner's daughter. She was his mother's last hope. Suddenly, realization hit him like thunder. I doubted her again. He stood up, grabbed his coat, left his office in a storm. Meanwhile, in a high-rise apartment, Kiera celebrated with champagne and cold laughter. Let him drown in doubt. He'll never forgive her now. But her joy was short-lived. A loud knock at the door. Before she could react, police entered with arrest warrants. Behind them stood Arif, soaked in rain but standing tall. Game over, he said coldly. Kiera tried to speak, but the officers had already found the hard drives, the fake signatures, and the offshore accounts linked to her and Rishi. As she was dragged out screaming, she shouted, "He'll never forgive her. You may have your company, Arif, but you lost the only one who truly loved you." Arif didn't reply. He had already turned away. He wasn't going to waste another second. The orphanage door opened slowly. Maya looked up. There he was, Arif, drenched, breathless. But his eyes were filled with something different. Regret, hope, and love. "You were right," he said, walking slowly to her. "About everything. And I was wrong." Maya tried to look away, but he gently held her hand. "My mother didn't leave her will to you for money. She left it because she trusted you to protect the truth when no one else would. I should have seen that sooner." Maya's voice cracked. "Why are you here now?" Arif knelt down in front of her, ignoring the rain, the mud, the world. "Because I don't want to live in a world where I don't trust the only person who saved me twice." She looked at him, tears rolling freely now. "Do you really mean that?" He took her hand, pressed it to his heart. "I love you, Maya. Not because you saved my company, but because you saved me. The boy who cried alone behind the garden wall. The man who almost gave up everything for a lie." The children at the orphanage peeked out and giggled at the sight. One of them shouted, "Say yes, Didi." Maya laughed through her tears. "You're still dramatic," she whispered. "And you're still the bravest girl I've ever known," he replied. She pulled him close. The kiss wasn't grand, wasn't rehearsed, wasn't for the media. It was real, like everything that led them here. 1 year later, the wedding was small. No media, no stage, no fake gold, just family, real friends, and a love that had survived betrayal, bullets, and doubt. As Maya walked down the aisle in a simple white dress, Arif whispered to himself, This is the wedding my mother would have smiled at." And somewhere in the breeze, it felt like she was watching, proud, Because the cleaner's daughter didn't just speak at the altar. She changed a billionaire's destiny. Forever.